Anytime, no matter where you are, you think you're safe. You think, my community is a safe community. You could be at the movie theater. You could be in an elementary school, and no one is really safe. But I think a lot of this, it shows the increasing need for mental health awareness in this country, and the need to, especially, in our community, to stop minimizing how important it is, and to seek therapists and to seek support. Welcome to the Strong by Choice podcast, where our purpose is to inspire women to be bold about their intentions and to take massive action working towards their goals in all areas of life.
18. Oh. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So first thing I'm going to start off with, if you're watching my this YouTube channel, you might see that my hands are just pink. So yesterday I was feeling good about myself. Yesterday was a nice day. We had an event here at Better Bodies. It didn't start out the way we wanted it to, but it ended well. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna dye my hair today. And at first I was gonna get like the actual hair dye, with the whole box. You have to mix it all together. But I was like, no, I'll just go ahead and go for a semi-permanent. And which I know better for semi-permanents because they never freaking show, especially if you have like black or brown hair. Yeah. And the reason why I wanted to dye my hair, because yesterday I was at the gym and I was looking in the mirror and my hair looked a little brighter, and I was like, oh, my hair probably looks brighter because I've been in the sun more. I was like out in the sun for the past week. I've been out more with my family. And so I was like, oh, look, it looks more brown. I was like, oh, that looks kind of cute. You should just dye the tips. And I'm like, yeah, I love me a nice frosted tip. I'm going to do that. So I went to Family Dollar, didn't find anything I wanted. I'm like,
that was your first mistake, looking at Family Dollar.
First off, wait, look, I went to Family Dollar. I didn't get anything at Family Dollar. I was like, no, go to the hair store. Hair store has more options. So I go to the hair store.
Question.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just ask Mike? One of our best friends is a phenomenal hairdresser.
Because I wanted to get it done yesterday.
Yeah, but you could just ask them what product to use instead of looking at Family Dollar. Anyways, hindsight's 2020. Continue.
Anyway, I didn't get the product for Family Dollar. I went to the hair store. So I go to the hair store, and I'm like, I didn't want to do. I usually got, when I was natural, I had always used to always get the same color. I was like, I want to do something funky. First I was like, I'm going to do blue. My daughter was like, Mom, you should do blue hair. And I'm like, I'm not sure.
There we go. Listen to the kid.
Yep, sure did. Then I was like, okay, I said to my mom, I'm going to do like purple. So I found this purple color, semi-permanent. Now, granted, if I would have went ahead and got the actual regular dye, it would have came with gloves. So this is what happened, y'all.
This is just a list of bad decisions.
It really is, right? So it was a long day yesterday, and I was tired. I had got up early. It was just a long day, but I was like, all right, after I left from the gym, I'm going to hang out with my daughter. I was going to go into mommy mode, and we were all going to have like a great time, right? So after I bought the dye, I was really happy, but when I sat in the car, I realized, I was like, girl, you didn't get no gloves.
But you did it anyways.
You ain't get no gloves, girl. What you gonna do? And I'm like, man. And then I don't have any cash on me, right? And I'm like, I ain't about to get out this car again. And I ain't about to swipe my card for no $1. And I said, well, when we go home, we gonna get some trash bags.
I knew it.
And we gonna wrap it around your head. And we gonna dye the ends of your hair, okay? All right, so look. So I'm like, all right, Desiree, that sounds good to me. So now, all right.
Ooh, you should have called somebody before you made that decision.
So, again, I was really tired, and it was just a long day. So I come home, and when I come home, I was immediately... No, I came home, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna put the trash bags around my hair and be good. And I thought to myself, and I'm gonna ask Josh to wrap it around for me and everything so I could be good, right? But when I came home, Josh was at home playing the game, so I got irritated. I was like, man, I ain't gonna ask him for his help at all, right? So then I needed some hand.
It just keeps going downhill.
It goes down, right? So I was like, all right, I can do this myself. First I try to wrap it because I need to get some ponytail holders. I was like, okay, I'm going to put them on my hand, put the ponytail holders on it. I'll be good. I don't need fingers. I just need to grab it like this, right? So I went in the bathroom.
I don't need fingers.
And I couldn't find any of my ponytail holders. And I'm like, dog, you gonna do this or not? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this. So then I thought, I'm gonna be all right. And I used my hands. And my fingers. And no, it was worse than this. It was like.
Can we zoom in one time? Bruh.
Right? And my hands are more.
Your hands
than
are
my
real
hair.
bright. Now your hair, it looked the same.
Maybe in the sunlight, you might see it. Maybe. Long story short, don't do stuff like this when you're tired and somewhat delirious, and don't get angry at your significant other and like not ask for help. I'm gonna do.
Other conclusion we can draw from this is to consult with an expert.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really. I know. It's not. I dyed my hair before.
I'm just looking at this current outcome. That's all I have to judge.
Michael. His name, Michael Hill. Do you know his Instagram name? Michael Hill. He's a phenomenal hairstylist. He operates in Virginia Beach, Virginia, I believe. I've known him pretty much all my life. Your hair is in great hands when you're with him. He does a whole bunch of different styles. I know he works with locks. He'll straighten your hair. He's great for natural hair. Great for braiding. Any kind of style that you need. He also does sew-ins and everything too. He's definitely one of your go-to guys that you can go to if you live in Hampton Roads. He also operates, I believe, still from time to time in Richmond, Virginia. So definitely look him up. His Instagram is
scalp_whisperer.
Scalp_whisperer, yes. Because you don't get all that. Oh, she got some starter locks.
Yeah.
See, I need to go to him. I'm gonna go to him.
That's why look. Why don't we utilize our expert friends?
Seen him in like forever.
And look, he posting about the podcast on his page.
He did. You know what? Sometimes then I feel bad. Like I go talk to him. I'm like, I haven't talked to you in a while. And I'm like, oh my god, can you do my hair? I think that's.
Okay, do you think he really cares? You're putting money in his pocket and he can talk to you the whole time he's doing your hair.
Bigger facts.
Like,
so
this literally, when I'm like, Michael, I need to see you. Let's cut my ends. He don't care. As long as you paying him.
Big facts. Well, I need to make an appointment. Well, I kind of just want to do my hair now, though. You know what? I'm going to dye my hair, then I'm going to go to Michael to retwist my hair.
Okay.
Anyway, Michael, Scalp, what was his name?
Scalp_whisperer.
Yes.
On Instagram.
Yeah, so that's my whole story. So if you see me in the streets.
How long do you think it's going to take for this to come out?
Oh, you know what's funny? No, I don't even.
The whole thing was funny, but continue.
First off, I had to dip my hands in bleach this morning.
I smell it.
Yep. It was like this whole time.
Right? I didn't smell it until you. We did the interview before, so there was someone in between us. But now that you're next to me, I smell it.
Yeah, right?
It smells like you've been scrubbing the kitchen real good.
You know what I said to myself? I was like, I got caught red-handed. I thought it was funny. It was funny when I said, no, Josh didn't laugh at it yesterday either. He was just like,
you could have saved that one. He just
looked at me like, you're an idiot. Anyway, yeah, so that's going on with me, guys. How everyone else doing?
I don't even know. I'm trying to sit here, like, as you're talking, try to figure out, like, what I've been doing with my life. And I can't think of anything. I'm just tired.
Yeah.
I don't know. I decided that I was going to sleep this week. Mm-hmm. I think I told you, Friday I was really tired. And I was like, it doesn't make sense for me to, like, the one, like, evening I have off, all I want to do is sleep. So I'm going to get my life together. Uh-huh. And I told Ty I was going to sleep more, so that means it's a real goal. Uh-huh. We'll see if it really happens.
We'll see if it really happens. I think it will. I think your body is just going to make, if you don't do it, your body will.
I mean, my body's going to do whatever I make it do. Will I be efficient? That's another question. But I really can't even think of what I've been doing in my life. Last weekend, hung out with my family for Memorial Day weekend, had my 4-day weekend. We went to, what's it called? Sandy Bottom?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah, we walked around at Sandy Bottom. Okay, first of all, I just got a new jogging stroller. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, talk about your.
Oh, I'm not gonna talk about my knee. My knee hurts.
Right.
But so we took it to. Have you ever been to Sandy Bottom Nature Park? Is it Hampton or is it Newport News?
It's Hampton.
Is it? It might be on the edge. I think
It's right on the edge.
it's Hampton, I think. But they have like different trails you can walk in, and so we took the jogger stroller, and I thought I didn't really pay attention. I just started walking, and Ty does this thing where he like lets me fail without like telling me. He waits until the end and be like, "Well, I don't know why we went this way. We took the hardest trail." So we went on the trail that was like 5 miles and like went through the woods, like over the bumpy, like stumpy tree roots and stuff like that, through like the swamp. Like we got attacked by mosquitoes. So it was a great workout, but pushing that freaking stroller, by like the middle of it, he just like took London out and like she was on his shoulders the whole time. It was interesting. I still had fun. Yeah. We got a little bit bit up, but I still had fun. It was a good weekend. We grilled out. Just did like family stuff.
Oh yeah, speaking of grilling, I still gotta bring some chicken over to y'all house so y'all can grill my chicken.
She keeps saying she gonna bring this chicken over for us to grill. Well, not us. I'm not. Let me not even pretend for Ty to grill.
This, actually no. This Sunday I ain't gonna forget.
Today is Sunday.
Next Sunday, I ain't gonna forget. But speaking of Sandy Bottom, shut up. Speaking of Sandy Bottom,
Big mad.
So my husband, he's, as you guys know, you guys don't know, my husband, he's been in the military for 10 years.
Forever.
So for the past 10 years of his life, he had to wake up pretty much at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning to get to work and everything. So long story short, he's really, really tired. So when he comes home, he has his whole thing to unwind from the day is to play the video game for an extended amount of time.
Y'all make sure you watch the video so you can see her expression as she's saying this, because it's real.
A long time, okay? And me being his wife, I kind of fell into that. But like me, feeling better about myself, wanting especially to be more active with Brielle, with her getting older now too, is like being in the house all day is like, no. It's like I want her to move around. I want to do different things with her.
Does he listen to the podcast?
I mean, if he listened to it, he already know what it is.
Oh, I mean,
it
wasn't like that. I was just wondering because I gave him a shout out one episode. I was wondering. I don't think we played that one yet. Actually, don't matter.
I don't know. He may or may not. If you are listening, babe, I love you. But anyway, he might. But anyway, so I decided I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Sandy Bottom because at Sandy Bottom, you can rent a boat. I
remember I was the one that recommended it to you.
Yeah, Susan did. It's the paddle boat where you can operate it with your feet.
Paddle boat. They got kayak, or I don't remember if it's kayak or a canoe. They actually you can go fishing. They got a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
you probably would never know about it because Hampton does a terrible job at advertising.
Yes. So I was like, okay, yeah, babe, I want to do that. And it was for Memorial Day weekend. And so luckily the day that we went, it was cooler than the day before. Cause I think
we went on the hot day.
Yeah, y'all went on a hot day. I went the next day.
I enjoy the heat.
Okay. She need a tan. But I'm just kidding.
Hater. Take a picture of you and put on the colorism episode.
Ooh, who's big man now? So anyway, so we
probably
get
the
up
hater
there.
over there.
Was that episode 6?
Whatever one was.
Shout out to Solomon, our videographer, who remember that because I sure don't.
Our whole producer. We ain't gotta do nothing but show up.
But
my man's is great.
But so we went out there. So we got on the boat, and first off, I was like, "Oh, this is real life." I was like, I may be too black for this because you know how black people don't always like to do stuff like that, which I'm getting over that stereotype. But anyway, so we get in the water. I get on the boat. For some reason, I was the only one whose feet got wet. Like my whole both my shoes were soaked. Right?
It just seems like you've been making a lot of bad decisions lately.
I have. And so then we get in there. I'm paddling, and I'm in this freaking boat, and I think that was the day I deadlifted or squatted, and I'm like,
so your legs were on fire.
Yeah, and so I'm thinking it's gonna be easy peasy, and me and Josh both are just like, all right, we had to take we were probably paddle for maybe 20 strokes, and we just, all right. And Brielle, she was scared, so she didn't want to sit in the back, so she's sitting right in the middle. So we all just with each other, just touched together, just with each other, and the sun is beaming right down on our face, and I'm just like, how much further we gotta go? It wasn't as I expected, but I had a ball. I was so happy to be outside with my family, enjoying.
No, you should go camping. No, not like that kind of camping, like the camping we go on. at Cherrystone, because they got stuff like all throughout the park. Because I didn't think I was gonna like it either. This is gonna be our 3rd year going in July, but like it's just like you can also pick, like they have different cabins and stuff. We always go in the cabin. It doesn't have AC in it, but it's still like inside. It's not too many bugs. But there's different like levels to it. Like you can get a tent, or else Ty's brother and his wife, they always stay in like the fancy side, like by the water with like AC, like I don't know the word for it, but there's different levels. Like you can choose whatever. But it had like they got a swimming pool, they got a beach, they got a dog park, a dog beach, whatever. They got a playground. Yeah, I
didn't know you had all that.
Yeah, like it's great. But I think it'd be a different experience for you. You know, you're saying like black people too black for this, whatever.
I know,
but it's like a good like mix of I'm in nature, but I can go back in my cabin and chill. And they have like a cafeteria on site and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I really didn't mind it. Like I think I don't mind camp. I don't think I would. Mind
I wasn't exposed to it growing up, so even this little bit is still new to me.
Yeah, because one thing I want to do this year too. I plan on going. I really think I am going to go on like a retreat to some extent. There's one that's supposed to be happening in August. I think it's like for 3 days. Why don't we do
our own?
Where are we going? And yes.
Well, I don't know. We'll figure it out next week. Ask us next time.
I really would love to do that. But the place I'm going to go to...
Let's mastermind in Greece.
In Greece?
I just picked some place.
That would be nice. I would love to go.
They got Groupons for Greece. Oh, yeah. Wasn't that one of the places you... yeah.
Greece, Italy, all that stuff. But anyway, I want to go on more hikes and stuff like that. But long story short, I had a great time with my family. And then afterwards, we took Brielle to the park. And it was just a really good experience. And I'm happy that, especially with Josh, he's more open to it, because beforehand it was, I almost felt like, especially being if you're a military wife at all, you start to fit your life around him. Yeah. First it's around him, and then especially when you have kids, you fit it around them. But especially with your husband, like everything you do, whether they're going out to sea, workups and stuff like that, you go around their schedule. And so
Speaking of that, Josh actually has duty today. So
if
you ever hear a little voice in the background of this video, it's because Brielle is here chilling
in the back. Well, chilling on the couch.
Mom life. Military wife, mom life.
10 years in the game, y'all.
When are you going to start your group?
I don't know. I need to start. I need to sit down and actually figure out that date. I know
Desiree is actually starting a support group for other military moms. Yeah. Because of the popular demand of it. We're in a big military town, if you aren't from the area and you're listening. But she's had so many different moms reach out to her about kind of having that support system. If you listen to the episode before this, where we interviewed one of our mastermind clients, and she was talking about the importance of having that support system. It's really important to not feel alone, and especially with military, if your husband's on deployment or whatever, and you feel like you're going crazy, just having people that you can relate to. So be on the lookout for that.
Yes, please do. And I'm glad you touched on that too, because the other day I was doing something, and I had a self-realization. I was like, I was alone for a long time, and I don't think everyone really knows that too much about me. I'm very extroverted. I'm very outgoing. But for a certain period of my life, particularly when we moved to Illinois, I was isolated. Besides like Josh and Brielle, I was pretty much by myself. I worked for a little bit, but then after that, I was just in the house. And so I noticed in myself that I felt alone a lot of times, but then I realized, now that I'm here, like how many women and men also I've encountered in like the different relationships I've built. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm really grateful that I have this, especially when you are a military spouse, having that added bit of support and everything. It really makes a difference in how you operate day to day, and like knowing that you have somebody there. So it's just been good having that realization. But yes, look out for that support group. Military life.
But that kind of leads us into what the episode is talking about. We're talking about mental health, but first we wanted to touch on an event that happened. Was it 2 days ago now?
Yeah.
By the time you hear this, it'll be a few days past. But recently, there was a tragedy in our area in Virginia Beach. There was a mass shooting. 13 people ended up dying, including the shooter. We got some of the details about it. He worked in the building. How many years did I say? 15 years. And everyone that he ended up killing were his coworkers, except one person who was a contractor in that office that day. And no speculations have been released about the motive behind the killing, but I'm going to just speculate, anyone who commits a mass shooting has some mental health issues. And a lot of our episodes recently have talked about like having that support system around you and the importance of taking care of yourself and your mental health. So I wanted to take the time to touch on how important that is today. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, having that. Well, go ahead. I'm going to go off of what you're saying.
Yeah, well, first, I was really surprised to hear about the shooting. And, it's not that it's uncommon these days with having like the shootings, school shootings and things like that, which it's sad to say, but you never think it's going to hit so close to home. And it's kind of been weird for me. The places that I go to end up being ones associated with like tragedy. So I went to undergrad at Boston University, and while I was there, that's when the marathon bombing happened. I was actually out. I was supposed to work the marathon. As an athletic training student, we all do rotations of working the marathon on the sports medicine team. And I was actually supposed to work the marathon that year. I was a senior, but I decided that I was going to hang out with my friends because there's two parts with the Boston Marathon, being involved in the sports medicine side. But then as a student, everyone gets Marathon Monday off. And so it was my last year. I wanted to drink with my athlete friends on my last Marathon Monday. So I actually told them I wasn't going to work it. I was supposed to be, which, I'm going to say I was lucky, but I actually had a lot of friends who were working the marathon. And if you look at the pictures, I have like classmates who were there in the midst of it, like wheeling out people with one leg from like being in the bombing.
Yeah. And I remember when that happened because I think I ended up calling you or texting you right away, checking on you.
Yeah, I didn't have service for a long time. Everything was shut down. The city pretty much shut down when that happened. And then when they were actually pursuing the bomber, it was actually right around the corner from where I was living off campus. So like we heard like the sirens going back and forth all night, all day. So that was really interesting. And then I went to grad school at Virginia Tech, which, we all know about the shooting that occurred there. And then now I'm back home. I'm from Norfolk, but I was literally in Virginia Beach the other day in that area, I think 2 or 3 days before that shooting occurred. So it almost seems like, tragedy. I don't want to say it's like following me, but it's so common now. You try to distance yourself and make it seem like it's this external thing, like it happens, but not to me. But really, in this day and age, it can happen anytime, no matter where you are. You think you're safe. You think, my community is a safe community. You could be at the movie theater. You could be in an elementary school. And no one is really safe. But I think a lot of this, it shows the increasing need for mental health awareness in this country, and the need to, especially, in our community, to stop minimizing how important it is and to see therapists and to seek support.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I wanted to touch on is like being able to, one, have that more readily available to people. And sometimes, though, I know some people, even if they have it readily available to them, they still may feel bad about going with a certain form of embarrassment.
Some people don't even realize the purpose of it.
Yeah.
There's this stigma behind, therapy and mental health, where you only go see a therapist if you're crazy.
Right.
And so, it's not a huge push for people with anxiety, depression, or who just have, different thoughts. They don't know.
They don't deem it as being normal.
Right.
So then if you deem yourself as being normal and everything is quote unquote fine in your mind because this is the same way you've been operating for months, really years of your life, then what's the point of actually going? People don't actually start seeking help until like you're pretty much hit rock bottom. But there's always, and that's the one thing I want for more of the normalization of how it is beneficial to you. As much as we have to take care of our bodies, it's important to take care of your mind and your emotions, and also being able to assess when it's time to go ahead and go.
Right.
Because some people, go ahead.
I was talking with Shay the other day, and I honestly think that we should have counselor, like therapy, in place in school. And I said high school, but she actually pointed out middle school, even elementary school, because at this point, especially in the Black community, but in general, like we come from so many like broken families. We're dealing with so much trauma from our parents, from dysfunctional relationships, and at that age, even early on, like we don't understand what to do with that emotion. We don't know what we're feeling. and it can manifest in different ways. And even now in the media and in the news, we're seeing kids being bullied, kids committing suicide, 10-year-old kids committing suicide. And that doesn't make sense. And we're still like letting this go on. Yeah. There's no action being put in place. What are we going to do? Why are these kids killing themselves? These are not isolated incidents. Like, it's occurring more and more often.
Yeah.
So
especially with social media, I know social media plays.
Social media definitely has a part to do with it.
And we were kind of talking about that a little bit yesterday, me and you, about like even like when it comes to young girls and like the beauty scene of it all. And I'm just how that plays a part in like how you, and I think a lot of it too is based on as well like how you see yourself in your environment as well.
Right.
If you go out into the world, and we had talked about this one time about Brielle in London. Mm-hmm. When as a young child you see yourself this way, and then you present yourself to the world, and the world basically tells you that you're wrong,
right,
you're this or that, and then you couple
need to
that
fall
with,
in this line.
Yeah, and then you couple that with social media, and if you see yourself that you're not meeting that standard, or I know back in the day, like I feel like bullying is always going to happen. I know that this is going to sound bad. I'm not even going to say that bullying is all the way bad, and I don't know if I'm just saying that because it's just something I feel like it's just part of like what kids do, right? But there's like always that line, of course, and I think with social media, when I was younger, you almost had a way where you can kind of like run away from it and everything. Yeah. But with social media, it's constantly always in your face, it's following you around. And no matter what, as our children sees us on our different laptops and phones and tablets or whatever, they're going to feel like it's normalized too for them to constantly be on it. Right. So if they're getting that punishment and that ridicule at school, and then
there's constant access to them if we allow it.
Right. And so it's also, like you said, there's no set guidelines or any rules yet set like, okay, this is how you need to operate. And with parenting nowadays, with parents being so caught up in everything, we tend to start pushing our kids on the side and letting everything else start to raise them. And that I don't even know what kind of culture that would create. Right.
We were actually talking about this before we started recording, how it seems parents are very hands off these days. We were talking with Solomon about they started with beating. Kids getting beatings, and he was saying like kids don't even get beat these days, and there's a lot more like talking to, but even at that, it's kind of like reprimand and then let it go. I don't think there's a lot of like intimate
follow through.
Right, and I know some of that has to do with coming from broken homes, and maybe a mother not feeling comfortable with talking to a son about a certain topic or vice versa, but it ends up being very hands off. And one thing that I noticed, or actually one of my clients takes my daughter to playgroup on Mondays. And so for playgroup, it's like structured playtime. You get to play, and then you do like arts and craft. You get a snack, there's story time. But they actually had to make a rule that parents couldn't bring their phones couldn't bring their phones out during playtime anymore, because the parents would just be sitting there on the phone, not paying attention to their kid. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's so sad that we have to have rules like that in place. And it's so important to unplug from social media, to unplug from your work, and to really spend time and talk to your kids, and to really just check in with them.
Yeah.
I know one thing I do with London, I always ask her, how was your day?
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes she tells me something. Sometimes she has a whole story of what happened that didn't really happen.
Right.
But either way, like I want to get into that habit now.
Right. Brielle's whole thing, I always ask her, well, how was your day? And she always brings up my mom's house in Treasure. I'm like, you haven't gone to grandma's house in like 4 months. But I do the same thing. It's like, Brielle, how was your day? What did you learn today in school? What was your favorite subject? And one thing, I don't practice it daily, but I'm going to start with her now, especially that now that she's getting older, she's going to be going to kindergarten this fall. But I will always put her in the mirror, and I'll say, Brielle, look at yourself. And I'll tell her, look at herself, and I say, okay, say, I'm confident, I'm
Affirmations.
beautiful, I'm strong, and all these different things that can just pop up in my head. And then I'm like, all right, baby, you can go down now. She'll walk away.
I've been doing that with London since you told me about Brielle. And London was like, if you listen to her, she'll say, I'm strong.
Yeah.
Like that's her favorite one. I tell her all of them, but she loves being strong, which I'm okay with.
And then in the moment, when I'm doing it, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, is this even
she
working?
Even listening?
But then I'll notice her. One day, it was random, and she was like, I'm confident, I'm intuitive, whatever. I'm like, okay,
and she sure is.
And it's really about starting them when they're young, and you're dropping those gems in their minds now, it may not grow and sprout immediately, but it's still there. Something like when they start to feel themselves getting challenged in the world that they're entering, whether it's at school, turning into teenagers and then young adults, that to me, I believe our words are really powerful, and I do believe that everything has its own timing and is going to come out when it's time. So being able to instill that within your children now, so when they grow up and they're facing these different things where it can sprout up in them, like, oh yes, I remember this part. I remember that I'm strong and confident and beautiful and intuitive and intelligent and all this stuff.
And I am all these things despite whatever situation I'm in right now.
Whatever you're facing, whatever society is telling you you're supposed to look or act like. So it's I think adults need to go to therapy, and I think they need to bring their kids too. I don't think there's anything wrong with having your kids in therapy. Like, I would put Bria on therapy, or
even just I'm not a psychologist, a psychiatrist, none of that. But I really think there needs to be more like structured time in school to deal with like emotions, because I read an article and it was talking about they took the tension out of whatever school and started doing meditation instead, and how much like there was a decrease in bad behavior after that. Yeah. But something like kids just don't know what to do with their emotions. And a lot of times they think that they can't even, especially little boys, feel like they can't even have those emotions because of what you want to say, Desiree?
I so hate that whole stigma of boys not being able to feel, or you got to be a man. And I get where that comes from. But when you think about the past, how our basic survival, the man,
we know where it comes from.
The whole Brooke strand, they had to protect the family. But in today's times, yes, I still believe in being a man and having that sense of like ability and strength. But especially when these men enter in relationships with women and everything, there needs to be a sense where they have to feel like it's okay to express those emotions, to have a sense of safety. There's no judgment. And then what I also think what happens too is when black men aren't able, especially black men, when they're not able to express those emotions, one of the biggest things that people say is like, oh, you're gay. And then that could also start to conflict with their own identity. Like, oh my gosh, well, I'm acting this way. This is identified as being gay. Well, that can start confusing a person, especially if you start at a young age. You know what I'm saying? So to be able to let black men be able to express themselves, really understand where their pain comes from, really understand how they're feeling. So to me, I feel like anger and aggression, that's still as emotional as versus somebody crying. It's an emotion. So you're trying
and it's an unproductive emotion.
Exactly. You're getting all angry, but nothing's changing. Nothing has happened. There's no growth. There's no transformation. You're just angry. And that anger is pretty much that protective wall, because you don't know how to process how you really feel of being neglected, of being abandoned, of being abused, of being whatever it may be. So I think I would love, right now, my whole purpose right now is talking with women, but I would love to get in the sector of children. I was even more so than girls, even boys, because I don't think they have much of, I'm not going to say they don't have much of a voice, but I can see where everything is going with women, empowering women, but what's happening with the younger men, because women are empowering each other and everything, but we have to be together as a collective. This, because to me, it's just going to be the opposite. So right now, technically, men are on top, right? But women are slowly climbing the ladder. But it's almost like it's going.
It shouldn't be a power struggle.
Exactly.
And one of the things they talk about in business, so there's different types of leadership. There's the more less emotional, very strict. We're going to stick to an agenda type leadership. That is me. But the more feminine leadership style is like to be part of a collective, to like ask people and to more so care about like their purpose and make them feel good or whatever, in order to push the agenda for the whole. And they were saying that leadership style is actually more effective overall. So even we have so many women now even though we're talking about like being feminist and being empowered, they're trying to lead as a man would. Where she loves talking about feminine energy, where if they would actually tap into their feminine energy, they would be more productive and get more done within the company and advancement. And so they were saying having more women in those leadership roles is actually better overall for big companies, big corporations, going with that feminine leadership style.
Yeah. As long as women are...
You can't outman a man.
Yes.
So it doesn't make sense to try to lead from...
And women don't always understand... And then women don't always understand their feminine power, their feminine energy. And then they do think of their feminine power, feminine energy. They want their mind also goes to more like the... I'm not going to say... quote unquote dark side, so more of the sexual.
Right.
They feel like their power is in that, but there's a ease to women. There is a like you said, when it come with their emotions, understanding how people are feeling, assessing.
When you lead with feminine energy, things are more so come to you.
Right. And
you create it. You
direct it.
Right. Having that balance of both is what
you need both. Yes.
Yeah, you really need both. So like you were saying, I think it's really important to make sure that we're empowering our men, our young boys, as well as empowering our women and understanding how we can coexist and how we can work together to create healthy relationships. And I think that like all starting from a young age and letting people to understand their emotions and know how to deal with it and understanding their energy is going to lead to a change over time and seeing less of these mental health crises and then, tragedies in our country.
And like you said, when you understand your emotions and you're able to tap into it and understand where they're coming from, then it also helps you to stop repeating certain cycles.
Breaking cycles.
Because sometimes we do cycles based off of our family, like the stories you heard from them, and then you're hearing that like, oh my gosh, and it must be me.
Right.
I'm going to be stuck in this paradigm. So you have that cycle that you're in. And then if you never was taught how to deal with certain emotions, and sometimes a certain situation will come back into your life and you act the same way towards it, then you never progress, you never see any growth or change. So being able to identify that and really understand where this comes from, why do I feel that way? I feel like this because of that. It's okay for me to feel this way, but now as well, now that you know
what can I do about it?
Yeah,
how can I feel better?
Right, how can I feel better versus staying stuck in that victimhood of I don't deserve it or whatever it may be. So it's like those little steps that we're not taught, especially it should be taught at home, but I think it's also important to be taught at school as well. I think that should be a whole thing.
But it can't be taught at home if they don't know.
Right. Matter of fact, I know you said about the school, instead of having detention, they have meditation, which I think is great. So two different things I'm going to point on. My daughter, she goes to a preschool, pretty much like a daycare. And one day they leave notes for me to look at for Braille's behavior. And so she said that there was a note, like all the kids were kind of like rowdy and everything. But what they did was, one, they had like a little quiet time corner where they get to take a stuffed animal and sit there and wait till they calm down, which I love. But instead of, another thing that they did was they actually sat all the kids down. They would have like a meditation, and so they can start to understand themselves and slow down and be quiet and listen to how they feel and everything. And that made me feel really good. And
shout out to Precious Moments
Academy in Newport News, Virginia,
run by one of our former Better Bodies clients.
Yes,
Shayna
Knight. She's amazing. I love her facility, and that's where my daughter goes. And I'm really happy that I was a part of her journey and helping training her.
Yeah.
And I know like my daughter's like in good hands, and I love the fact that I get to have those notes and those pictures and those videos sent to me daily, so I can see what's going on with her. So I know for me, meditation was a big part of my own growth, and that's one thing I want to give back to women is understanding what the benefits of meditation is. And I feel like especially in the Black community, some people have like a stigma when it comes to meditation, and to me, meditation is just pretty much getting tapped in tune with not where I am externally, but where I am internally.
Right.
Because I know where I am internally affects my external existence. And so I can always tell when I need to shift and change, and I need to go back in meditation because things around me just aren't going right.
Right.
So being able to have that education set in place for these children are so important, because as Whitney Houston says, I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and help them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. One of my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Whitney Houston. She came to me yesterday. I was listening. For some reason, the Star Spangled Banner by Whitney Houston was a big deal. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Random thought.
Anyways. But yeah, something needs to change in our country, in the world in general. You know, we really need to start listening to our kids and teaching them. And I know it's going to take a long time to see the effects of that, but you got to start with the bottom and work your way up. We have a lot of messed up people in the world, a lot of adults who don't understand the importance of therapy. And yes, we should focus on them and trying to get them help too, but we need to make sure that the younger generation is okay. There's with social media and the news, there's so much access to just trauma and tragedy, and it's easy for that to take a toll on you from a young age, especially if you don't know how to process, you don't understand why things are happening, you don't understand the stories behind it, and of course all the highlights of the most dramatic events. So you just see just damaging stories. So we need to make sure, you know, we're putting our kids in a position where they can grow into healthy relationships and grow into healthy adults, and that if they do ever have any issues, they know where they can go to get the resources they need to get back on track.
Right. And then sometimes, I know with my daughter too, and I think a lot of kids operate like this. Sometimes your kids don't always want to listen to you, but they would listen to someone else.
Right.
They can have that mentor, that person in the form of leadership, and it doesn't take away from you as being a parent. It's like for me, if for whatever reason Brielle is going through some issues and I'm trying to talk to her, I'm trying to get in her head, but she for some reason she's not receiving it well, I still feel like I'm being a good parent, and it's still going to make me feel good as a person, as a parent, if I know where to take her so she can receive the help. Because at the end of the day, it's not about me, it's about her and making sure she's the best person, the best version of herself as much as possible. So being able to even be aware of that, because sometimes people get on this big ego trip, or you only want to keep it in a family or whatever it may be. Yeah, you want to keep it in your family, and then before you know, little Ray Ray done shot up the corner store. You like, damn, little Ray Ray, why you at the corner store? Or whatever it may be, you know what I'm saying? So being able, like you said, being able to seek out that help and everything. I wish we had more. Do we still have Boys and Girls Clubs? Is that still a thing?
Yeah, we do. Tina Vick and Michael Vick just redid the Boys and Girls Club in Newport News. They just reopened it. So yeah, we still have them, but I mean, there's so many communities that don't have them, especially, you know, those with lower income levels. So having different projects, different mentorships in place, we definitely need more of that. We need to see more people like us in those spaces to help kids that look like us. So definitely my condolences go out to everyone in Virginia Beach, you know, and in this area in general. I think it's a terrible event. Brielle has entered the room.
Yes, my daughter has come in. Hi, babe. You came in a good time.
Yeah. Why don't we let Brielle take us out here?
Yeah, Brielle, why don't you tell everybody what's your name? No? You want to tell everyone thank you so much for watching and listening?
Alright.
As much as you're going to get from her.
Yeah, so why don't we just go ahead and take us out, Desiree?
Yeah, so thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you for everyone watching.
All right. I think that was perfect. Thank you for watching. Catch us next week. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share. And we will see you all soon. Stay safe and stay beautiful.
Monday, 5 a.m.
Monday at 5 a.m. with the redheads.
Don't forget to follow, subscribe, like, and share on Facebook at Strong by Choice, and also on Instagram at Strong_by Choice.